Hello, everyone. Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. Can you believe it? It's time for Taroscopes again. This time, the Taroscopes for the sign of Aries, Aries Sun, Aries Moon, Aries Rising for the month of February 2022. Before we get into the tarot, we'll take a look at the astrology of February. February starts with a new moon in Aquarius. That new moon is conjunct Saturn, so there's a serious tone to the new moon. For the Aries, this is your 11th house of friendship. So end goals and sort of out of the box solutions and sort of where you fit in the big picture, in humanitarian endeavors and the like. So you can start any of those things. You can have a new friendship, you can have some new goals, perhaps a new humanitarian endeavor, but it is going to take some heavy lifting with Saturn there. A few days later, Saturn makes its annual conjunction to the sun, and you can start that synodic cycle of illumination of the structures needed to sort of support this Saturn journey that we're all taking really through Aquarius. And for you, Aries, it really does deal with new goals and ways of relating. It could be the 11th house is often associated with technology, so there can be something new around issues of technology for you, whether you can utilize it for your personal benefit or maybe some work benefit or something like that. Staying connected, staying interconnected is really what that 11th house can be about for you. We do have Mercury start the month retrograde, but only 3 days. On the 3rd, it stations direct. That's happening in the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn is your house of career. So if there's been some misunderstandings, it's certainly understandable. With Mercury moving direct, those things should clear up. It doesn't get out of its shadow until the beginning of March, but you can still start moving forward on those things. We do have a conjunction between Mercury and Pluto that occurs on the 9th, I believe. Hold on one second. I can look at it right here. Oh, the 11th. Sorry about that. Which is a Friday. That conjunction between Mercury and Pluto is actually the 3rd of 3. The first one occurred at the end of December, the second one at the end of January, and now this one on the 11th of February. So any sort of plans that you've had, especially associated with career or public standing, ideas that have sort of been percolating, this is really, really deep thinking, deep consideration. When it comes to the 11th, then you can actually start to move forward on it. So there's probably been a couple of things you've been thinking about, and maybe not getting around to that will change come the 11th of February. We have a full moon in the sign of Leo. Leo is very dramatic moon, and it falls in your house of creativity and children. It goes along the sun moon with the full moon goes along your axis of love. So love of subjective love, very personal love in that 5th house with the Leo energy, and impersonal love in that 11th house with as the house of friends, the house of the love of humanity, as it were. We do have a conjunction between Mercury and Venus and Mars on the same day as that full moon. That is the first of 2 conjunctions we're going to have with these 2 planets. Usually they just make a conjunction once and then Venus moves on. And 2 years later they come back together. But sometimes they have more than one conjunction. Usually it's because of a retrograde motion of some sort. And Venus has just come out of retrograde motion. She came out of retrograde motion on the 29th. And so she's moving very slowly. In fact, she's moving around the speed of Mars. Venus takes a year to go around the zodiac. Mars takes 2. So Venus is moving pretty slow. but she spent all this time being retrograde and pondering around issues of career, public standing, putting yourself out there, so to speak. And now Mars comes along. Mars is your ruling planet. So whatever happens to Mars is important. Mars is out of bounds. And so you really do have to be careful how you push your energy around, because things can get out of control. But it is in Capricorn, and it's exalted in Capricorn. So it does help, and it helps you to sort of move in the direction that's going to bring you the most, I don't want to say bang for your buck, but certainly an efficient use of your energy. So that should be helpful. And that again is in the 10th house of career and public standing. And just, whatever you do, just know you're going to be seen doing it. So if you're trying to do things nefarious or underhanded, it ain't going to work, because it's all out in the open now. We have the sun moving into Pisces. That is your 12th house. It's sort of a mystical, magical house. The sun going through that house. Oh, that's happening on the 18th. I'm sorry. The sun moving through that house, can bring up some karma, can bring up some hidden things, can bring up some hidden enemies, but it also is the energy of oneness. And so it kind of depends on where you're at, what you're doing, what's your intention, what's your level of awareness. It can be actually a very magical time when imagination can be a good thing. All right. We do have on the 23rd and 24th, Neptune making sextiles to first Mars and then Venus, because Venus and Mars are kind of moving together. So it happens very quickly, one after the other. Mars Neptune aspects can be a little bit challenging, because Mars is about forward motion and getting from here to there, and Neptune is kind of circuitous. It's it's the ocean. It's the nothing goes in a straight line, and so it can be Mars and Neptune as a combination can be frustrating at times. But the sextile is less so, because what it does is it opens you up to higher vibrational compassion, healing energies for Mars. And we can actually do a lot of good at this time because of that. You as a Mars ruled sign, but everyone, if we utilize it in the right way. And then the next day we have Venus and Neptune making the same type of sextile. These are 300-degree Aquarian side sextiles. So it's about humanitarianism. And Venus and Neptune have a special relationship, because Neptune is considered the higher octave of Venus. And so there's a softening and while Venus in Capricorn is pretty much business, the connection to Pisces really sort of softens that and brings that business acumen for the larger good and for the larger whole. So we have actually some pretty nice energies in February. The United States does go through, it has its first sweep of its Pluto returns, and there's a lot of consternation and angst out there in the world. But we can really do some really good things this year, this month, if we apply ourselves with the right intention. And for you, Aries, it's all about intention, Mostly, I find Aries are well-intentioned, but oftentimes naive, and they get themselves into situations that they just simply get themselves into because they're not aware that that's an option, that outcome is necessarily an option. But you learn, and you pick yourself up, you brush yourself off, and start all over again. But I think it's going to be a relatively good month for you, Aries. But let's see what the cards say, because that's the astrological stuff. But we'll see what the cards say about this month. I'm going to use the Wild Unknown Tarot, which I love. I love that decks. So let's see what's ahead for Aries Sun, Aries Moon, and Aries Rising. Of course, Aries being the start of the tropical zodiac, the readings for Aries we can always apply them to everybody else. because Aries is that energy of beginning, and it's purely archetypical when we're dealing with looking at the Aries reading. There's an archetypical energy to Aries because it is the beginning. And so while it's definitely personal for Aries, it's not necessarily personal for others, but they'll usually see it working in their chart as well from a purely archetypical perspective. All right, I'm almost done. These feel pretty well shuffled. I don't know, I just go by feel. So let's see what Aries has to say to us. What do the cards want to say for Aries? I'm always interested in this one because I married an Aries. And my first house, which is the Aries, is the natural Aries house. Although houses and signs are not the same thing, but there's correlations and correspondences. My first house is loaded, so Aries applies to me as well, usually. All right, let's see what's up. What's up, Aries? Okay, what are we starting with? Love. Love is in the air. Every sight and every sound. So yeah, love. Decisions, choices around love. The Two of Cups is, oftentimes we see the Lover's card and they're like, oh, love. But the Lover's card is more about choice. The Two of Cups is more about love and relationship. And so there's a coming together. There's a little bit of passion, perhaps percolating here, Aries. Crossing that is the Six of Wands. This is the victory card. But there's this really to me speaks of like victory, or being on the other side of something, and then the sun comes out. But there's still some things that you need to like work out and pick up and such. So it feels to me like there's been a relationship that has gone through quite a few storms, but you've come out the other side somewhat victorious around that. But there's still some things that need to be cleaned up with that energy. We have death at the root here. This is about change. This is about death and rebirth. And so perhaps this relationship that has come up right up front, first card, it's been that transformational process within that relationship. We have the Nine of Pentacles in the past. This is the self-made person. This is sort of self-sufficiency and the like. Aries tend to be pretty self-sufficient in general because they like to be able to just get up and go and do stuff. So if they're responsible just for themselves, it's easier to do. But this energy is one of like a safe nest. In the past, you've had a safe place to sort of lay your head. Wow, in the sky we have the Three of Wands. This is the birth of this is like a new dimensional frequency. So I feel like you are moving into a new dimensional frequency with that. And we have the World card here as the immediate future. There's an ending and a new beginning. Something is coming to an end. Perhaps that's the storm. Perhaps the storm has come to an end, and now we have a new beginning on the other side of that. How it's seen from now, this could apply to all of us. So this is actually pretty good for all of us so far. How it's seen from the outside, this is the Two of Pentacles. In this deck, it's a rebirth energy, it's a balancing energy, it's been through the transformational process here, right? It's also an energy of cause and effects. It's another two. So we started with the Two of Cups, which is feelings and emotions, and here we have the Two of Pentacles, which is sort of more a practical application of that. In the domestic situation, we have the Three of Cups. This is joy and happiness. This is really nice. So it feels like there's more peace in your home. hopes and fears, the 10 of Cups. I mean, who wouldn't hope for the 10 of Cups, right? This is happiness, but maybe you don't necessarily trust it. You're like, oh, my dreams are coming true. Can I trust that? Because, I mean, whose dreams are coming true, right? Ours are, actually. Our dreams are coming true. We have the Father of Wands here. This is the rising serpent of the Kundalini. This is your spiritual power. This is dominion. The kings are always about dominion and sort of rising up and being transformed and coming from a higher vibrational state. This is all very much speaking of higher vibrational states. And then we have the Star as the outcome, new inspirations. This is a beautiful card to come out as an outcome. So this looks this is, I've actually done all of them, and this is the last one I'm doing, the Aries one, which is unusual because usually like that's the first one because it's Aries, but I wanted to put Aries at the end of the line today. Just because you got to learn the lesson. Sometimes you got to wait, Aries. But these cards are phenomenal. These cards are phenomenal. And you know, what's underneath it? We have the 5 of Swords, the Knight of Wands or the Son of Wands, and the 5 of Cups. And then might as well the Wheel of Fortune. So these are very nice, beautiful, rosy cards. It's because you've been through all of these other experiences and you've still been able to rise above them. Life is very, very challenging, but every day that your feet hit the ground is a good day. And if you have that attitude and you have that, if at first you don't succeed, or, you know, if you topple down, you brush yourself off and start all over again. That's the attitude. So it's not like suddenly Aries is getting all the good cards because they're just lucky. You've gotten the good cards because you've worked hard and you've come through some pretty harrowing and hairy experiences. So congratulations, Aries. And I'm going to do a congratulations for all of us because we've all been through a lot of crap, let me tell you. And yet here we are in the moment on the other side of this stuff and rising up. Okay, guys, have yourself a great month. Like and subscribe. Much love to you all. If you're interested in having a reading with me, you can check out my offerings on my website, theseedsoftransformation.com. You can book a reading. You can pick a day. If the day works out, that'll be the day. If it doesn't, I will let you know. Sometimes, you know, things come up, but for the most part, things are now starting to move a little bit more smoothly, dare I say. I shouldn't say that because Mercury, when I'm doing this, Mercury is still retrograde. A little better on the website. I also have a few classes. I have one I have one class that is already started, second half of my beginner's class. I do have an astrology salon that I do on Tuesday nights. If you can speak astrology, which simply means you know what the planets are, you know what the signs are, you have an idea of the houses and some grasp of the aspects. Aspects are always usually the hardest thing to grasp. But if you have that, you can join us and we go over current events and different things, different topics. Usually it's topical and there's always something to talk about, right? Because the world is such an interesting place these days. So that happens on Tuesdays, and there is an option for you to join that class, a class at a time if you want, whenever the spirit moves you. It's a great group of people that do that. And then I'm also starting an intermediate class on the 29th. This will come out before then, so you will hear about it. January 29th. It's on Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to be doing transits and returns. So a little bit of that and a little bit of that information if you're interested. So have yourself a great month, and I will see you again next month for the Taroscopes of March. Much love, everyone. Namaste.